Is this finally happening? I've been prolonging this live stream for 2.5 hours now. First I started off at oops, sorry for the mic. Started off at putting the timer for 10:30, then 11, 11:30, 12, 12:30, because I've been writing on this summary of the week, and it's extensive, and I want it to be good. Anyways, it's time for the live weekly evaluation. We didn't have any last week, so that means it has been 2 weeks since we last had this cozy time. But before I say anything else, I do need to check that we are up and running. I have had technical issues before, going through entire live streams a couple of times with no audio. Let's just make sure that isn't the case today. I can see the green light, that means we're live. I can't, however, hear myself yet. Let's change that. Okay, audio. Nope. I can't hear myself. Oh wait. Can I? Nope. Oh, that's really shitty audio. Is it? Oh, it's my white noise I have in the background, perhaps. Wait. Yeah. That was it. Oh, it's my white noise I have in the background, perhaps. Focus. I'm not allowed to use any music, but I did cheat a little bit with some white noise. That was it. Okay. That means we're gonna mute myself. And we are gonna... Oh! Scheisse. Fuck. Sorry for cursing. Did I mess up the camera angle now? Sorry. We'll get started in a sec. So, how about that? Are you ready for this? I'm ready for this. Okay. Last adjustment. It is time for the live weekly evaluation. Friday, tea time with Alex. However, no tea today due to this little challenge. Let me just explain the context, what I've been up to, what the heck this video is going to be about. You see, this has been the week of suffering. That means I put myself through some extensive pain, to be frank. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through, well, I'm not going to walk you through, I'm going to hit on the main reflections and learnings from doing a week of suffering. First off, why the heck would I do this, and what has it meant? Well, Stoicism is a philosophy that I've recently started to research a bit. Basically, it's about being mindful and not letting our emotional response dictate how we take action, and being at peace with what is served us. Kind of, sort of. I'm no expert, but one of the practices that Stoicism wants you to do is to practice suffering. Put yourself in a situation where you would be in a worst case scenario, like doing poverty for a couple of days, fasting, not using any luxury stuff. And this is a way back philosophy, like like old Roman emperors and people like that have been practicing. But it has gotten more and more attention lately due to different authors and such preaching this. For instance, Tim Ferriss, the author of The 4-Hour Workweek and a lot of other books, was the one that got me into this. However, that's not of the importance. The important thing is how this played out and how did it look like. Well, for one, or for many, I wasn't allowed to use any like electronic devices, like the phone, connecting to any kind of social media sites, using the internet, not being able to Google stuff, headphones, music, audiobooks, YouTube, mail, all those things I removed this week. However, I did have to use my computer and phone for the work context, but I minimized it to the absolute very most I could. Also, I have put myself through some cold exposure. I've been biking to work like a total amount of almost 8 hours in way too cold weather for me to do that. And I've just put myself through these not so entertaining things, or I've excluded all the things that usually entertain me. And I can say that this for sure has been one of the worst weeks in I don't know how long. Now, I should say that Stoicism is also about not complaining, but I do have to reflect on what I've felt this week. So, here it goes. And I also have to say I'm on my 25th hour of fasting, and this protein shake will break my fast because that was the goal, 24 hours. So if I'm a bit loosey and can't really articulate myself too well, that may have to do with my fasting right now. But so, what has happened? How did this affect me? Taking all these joyful things away from me. Well, where to begin? It's been so impactful. The insights I've gained as a result is just it's mind-boggling. So I'm gonna start at the top. What has been the most important realizations? Okay, for you to understand my usual way, the contrast, I'm constantly like taking in external inputs, a lot of the time at least, listening to audiobooks, YouTube videos, all these kinds of things on personal development, and I'm always trying to optimize my life, getting as much as possible out of it. Even though I've gone more and more towards mindfulness and just not occupying myself, I'm still very trapped in that consuming trap of always putting something in. So when you take all that away, it means it opens up a whole space for thoughts and emotions to just be able to expand, to thoughts that you usually maybe just give that thought attention for a couple of minutes, but now when you're for an entire week giving it so much space, you go down these rabbit holes in areas you never would have spent time going into otherwise, and that has led to some scary things. For instance, or the biggest thing has been that I've realized that I really don't enjoy my work, and that has really shook me up. That actually put me in a state of like mini depression, because I use music, I use these entertainment to cover up my work, making it enjoyable. So if I do some 3D modeling, and since I'm working as a mechanical constructor, I listen to music and these things that makes my work quite enjoyable. But when I've extracted all these things, what has been left, the skeleton of my work, I realized that isn't enough. It hasn't fulfilled me. It hasn't made me feel any joy in my work days. I've come to dread my work this week. It has been so hard to focus. I haven't felt any like particularly good emotions of what I've been doing. It has made me realize that I've used all these things to color my work days, making them good enough to not question what I'm actually doing. So I've come to this point that makes me look myself in the mirror and say, I can't be doing this because it's really not making me fulfilled. And that has been a result of excluding all these good things from my life. I don't know if that was the purpose or not, but it has been the result, and that in itself is just incredibly valuable. Because even if it has put me in a state of depression-like mood, it's something you need to go through to make change happen. I know I really need to make things change now. I have to change my work situation. That wouldn't had been realized if I hadn't put myself in this little challenge, when I've excluded all these external sources constantly occupying my mind. And this is not something you only can achieve by doing a suffer week challenge. No, this is about being conscious and mindful. Something I've been practicing a whole lot prior to this. Something I've really researched when I've been looking into how to develop self-esteem. But to this degree, this week, so much time and space, not allowing any internet, music, podcast, whatever to mess my mind up, it has given me enough time to make these realizations, and that is so powerful. And it's a lesson I really need to share with you guys. Try to just remove yourself from these things for a couple of days and see what insights you will get out of it. That's the main takeaway from this week. And as I said, that in itself is just worth the whole experience. But besides that, so many other thoughts has run through my head. I mean, life became quite dull and boring, so gray. The urges I've had for good food. I mean, I'm not being allowed to have any good tasting food. I haven't been allowed to even warm up my food, heat it in the microwave. I haven't been allowed to use any good clothes, like only shitty clothes, and it's just been so willpower draining for me to resist all these urges. I mean, I actually went to the store yesterday to do some grocery shopping for today, but that was just, I was looking at all these foods and it was just mind-boggling how all these things could exist, and it looked so tasty, and yet I wasn't allowed to indulge in them. And that's kind of the second purpose I had with this challenge, to distance myself from these things, so I would once more appreciate the small things. So I would see that these little things, which I usually just take for granted, they actually do bring me a ton of value, and they should be appreciated for that. Now, this may speak some against what I said about life being pointless when I took these things away. Like, I need to to fill a bigger void. It shouldn't only be filled by these small things. Like, for sure, good food can really make me happy. Music can really make me happy. But it lives in symbiosis with a greater life purpose. Doing something that fulfills you on a daily basis. Work is something that will take up most of your time. Hence, you should be doing something that really speaks to you. Now, that doesn't have to be something big. It can be super simple and small, but it should be something that you have actively chosen or actively designed in a way that makes you have these feelings of fulfillment. Now, for me, I have high life ambitions. I put up high standards for myself, and when I'm seeing that I'm not currently living up to that, that makes me feel like I'm not having integrity towards myself, and that's something that makes you feel broken inside. So unless I change how I want to live or I change how I live, I'm not gonna be living the kind of life I want to be living. Hence, I'm being untruthful to myself, unfaithful to myself, and that can't bring me to that higher level of the good life I want to live. So just saying that it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be super simple. If you love making shoes, like that's an ancient craftsmanship, but if you love making YouTube videos, then maybe that's what you should be doing. But it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't need to be complicated, but you need to actively choose what you're doing. You need to actively think about these things. And when you do that, you are also allowed to enjoy these small things, but because that is something I've really come to realize this week, how much these things mean to me, how much joy they bring to me. I mean, I have strawberries here. I haven't been allowed to eat that this week, and I've been dreaming about strawberries, and I'm gonna enjoy them so much, and they are gonna bring me to the top level of the joy scale when I will be eating these. I know that because it's something that really brings so much value to me, and that has been a result of this week as well. Getting back to a low level of appreciating the small things. It's not about having a high salary. You don't need to earn a ton of money to have a good life. I mean, friends, family, social connections, the small things, music, good food. It's not hard to get to this base level. And that is another realization or a practice or a purpose of this week's challenge. To practice these worst case scenarios, to see that these small things are enough. It should make me realize, or the theory is that if I realize that even if I only have these small things, that's good enough for me. So it shouldn't hinder me from going after the scary, risky moments like giving up a big career so I could go after some high-risk entrepreneur idea. That may scare people because then they will lose their high salary and all the good stuff they're used to. But if we see that maybe I don't need all that luxury stuff, I can go after that thing and realize, hey, even if worst case scenario plays out and I lose everything, I still have some basic stuff, and that will be enough for me. And also realizing if that comes to be the case, that I lose everything, it's not that hard to actually build up to where I am right now, starting over. For me, I could always move back to my family, live with them for a short time to get back on my feet and just get my life rolling again. But that's not even a plausible scenario. I don't think that's going to happen. But just knowing that worst case isn't that much of a worst case. And I've had so many thoughts this week as I've had so much time to think about these things. So that's also why it took some time before I started the live stream. I have written this down in an article blog post I will be posting within the hour, where you could actually look through the main reflections I've had. I must say before closing this down that if you don't know how to go about this designing life in a good way quest, Tony Robbins actually has a really good model for how you can design and look at your life in order to actually extract more value from it. It's about finding purpose in the small things, but designing it in a way that makes it fun for you. I'm not really giving this the right sales pitch here, but I mean, for me, I hate to clean. Another person can really love to clean because they hit on certain points to them that makes it a fulfilling task. Like they get this sense of variation when they're cleaning. If they're cleaning new environments, they perhaps get the sense of feeling important because they're doing something that to them is important, and maybe people around them appreciate that. For me, that maybe isn't something that is important at all, but another task may give me a feeling of importance. So these 6 fundamental human needs, which I briefly spoke of here, is the model that Tony Robbins came up with a bunch of years ago, and it's actually really good and something I've been implementing a while back, but I've actually forgot about it. But this morning, I started to think about it again, and I realized how much value it actually brought me back in the days. So in this blog post, and also down here in the description, I will be posting a video where Tony Robbins, when he was quite young, and well, way back in the days, this video is quite hilarious when you look at his clothes, actually explains these 6 human needs, and I can just briefly tell them right now. It's number 1, certainty, is assurance that you can avoid pain and gain pleasure. Secondly, we have uncertainty / variety, the need for the unknown, change, new stimuli. You see, my articulation on the fasting isn't top notch. Then thirdly, we have significance, feeling unique, important, special, or needed. Fourth, we have connection, love, a strong feeling of closeness or union with someone or something. I will get back to that. Fifth, growth and expansion of capacity, capability, or understanding. And sixth, contribution, a sense of service, focus on helping, giving, and supporting others. Now, these 6 different needs we have can be hit to different levels depending on the different tasks we have. But so looking at the tasks or work or whatever we're doing, we can see how we're hitting these points, these different levels, and perhaps increase a level to agree. Maybe if we don't feel any growth when we're cleaning, we can listen to audiobooks that brings growth in that situation, and hence raising the overall experience of what we're doing. But what I wanted to just briefly touch on before leaving this little evaluation is the connection, love part, which actually automatically was enhanced this week as a result of not being able to entertain myself with external sources. Instead, I seeked social connection within others in the work, especially at the workplace. And that really brought me a ton of value and connection and social interactions that wouldn't have happened since I otherwise would have been plugged in listening to stuff. The downside of this was, though, that I lacked so much focus this week because I work in an open environment, open office space, and yeah, I can't help but to eavesdrop when somebody's starting a conversation, and that happens all the time in such an environment. So the social connection for sure has been like the only source of joy and entertainment this week, but it was a tremendously valuable one. Not something new to me, but just a verification of the importance of social connection. That is like the last final thought I had right now in the stream. At least I need to eat before losing my mind. And I hope I wasn't too unstructured. I recommend you, if you want more, read my blog post. I will be putting the link down there. I just need to read through it one last time before putting it up. I also see that under the sun every day, everyone has written, "Hi man," and sorry for the slow reply, but hi to you too. Thanks for being with me in this moment of reflection. And I can honestly say that I feel dizzy now. The lack of energy really is present after speaking for 25 minutes. Woo! Oh, yeah, I'm lost. I'm not lost. It's been such a daunting week. It has been such a daunting week. Before leaving you, was it the third time I said that? I just have to tell you about my trip to my work last morning. You see, another part of this challenge has been to bike to work every day. Now that's not something new to me. I do that, but I don't do that when it's -degrees and snowy outside, because then it's just a pure pain. But that was part of the challenge this week, to endure pain. So I said, hey, I'm gonna bike to work no matter the weather. So yesterday morning, I woke up at 4:45, set out on the bike, and it went well. It was like -5 super cold, but it worked. And the distance is about 20 kilometers. The thing is, halfway through my little journey, my bike is starting to behave all weird. And it's like when you're pedaling, it stopped moving, or you could just pedal but nothing happened. So I thought just first my chain had jumped off the gears, but I looked down and no, that wasn't the case. So then it worked again, but then it didn't. So I jumped off the bike and I saw that, or I didn't see that, when you pedal, nothing happened. And how the heck are you supposed to bike 10 kilometers when nothing is happening when you're pedaling? So being like overflown of bad emotions, standing early in the morning, -degrees, freezing like shit, and having bike shoes not being that comfortable to walk 10 kilometers in, I was just a bit, I almost laughed at the situation, like, yeah, it is the week of suffer. But fortunately I was able to like tighten some screws and give it some kicks, so I did get it to work after like 15 minutes of trying to get on a train but not being allowed to, then doing this as a last cause measure, last action before totally giving up on myself. And it actually worked, and I was able to take myself to work in a not so rapid way, but I did get there and I wasn't forced to walk. That for sure really put me in a state of like, fuck my life right now. But I was so joyful and grateful for getting there after going through that emotional carousel. That will be the end of this live stream. And I will end it with breaking my 25-hour fast with raising this cup of coconut water protein drink, and wishing you a great weekend, a great day, and hopefully I will see you on Sunday when the next week's challenge will be announced. My name is Alexander Nilsson. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being awesome. See you in the next one. Bye, guys. Oh. God damn. It's the first sweet thing I've had in 5 days. God damn, that's sweet. Almost too sweet. Ah.